I am going to do something that people have railed me for the last few months that I've been talking about the work of J.R.R. Tolkien. I am going to talk about what I think his entire ethic and ethos and thesis is in one single line. Because there is a line that I just read in The Lord of the Rings that I think encapsulates almost perfectly what he was writing about. Now, I want to be clear, because I'm not going to talk about how this is an allegory of one thing or one specific thing that he was really trying to get the author or get the readers to understand through his writing. His work is not an allegory. If you talk to anybody who's an uber fan of Lord of the Rings, the one thing that they will say is Tolkien hated allegory. And so I repeat that, Tolkien did not like allegory. He was different from like a C.S. Lewis who was writing a straight up allegorical work of the Christian or the biblical story. Tolkien did not want people to make that comparison to his story. But at the same point, there's a lot of comparisons that might be there. And there's one specific line that I think really offers up his ethos in what he was doing when he was writing The Lord of the Rings. And it's a really beautiful line because everyone is in the middle of... So it happens right after the Battle of the Pelennor Fields, right after people are healed, and they're essentially having a debate for what they should do next. Should they march to the Black Gate? Should they muster their forces in Minas Tirith for another battle? What should they really do? And Gandalf says, we clearly have to march with a few people to the Black Gate and draw his eye on Aragorn so that Frodo can potentially slip in. And then he talks about how there might be other evils after Sauron that come up, but it's not really for them to control. And this line that he says in this moment that Gandalf speaks, to me seems like the entire ethos and the entire thesis for The Lord of the Rings. This is what the line says. Other evils there are that may come, for Sauron is himself but a servant or emissary. Yet it is not our part to master all the tides of the world, but to do what is in us for the succor of those years wherein we are set, uprooting the evil in the fields that we know, so that those who live after may have clean earth to till. What weather they shall have is not ours to rule. What a good line. This is really, to me, what I think Tolkien is offering us through The Lord of the Rings. To do our small parts, because we cannot control the tides of the world. We cannot control what things happen in our past or what things will happen in the future. What we can do is we can live in the present and offer up small little solutions for these things in our own life and things that are happening in the world. And I love the first line in this. It is not our part to master all the tides of the world. Because that is everything that we are trying to do in today's world. We are trying to control the tides, to control the weather, to control what other people say, to control what other people do. We're trying to eradicate evil once and for all. But through this next line, this humble task to do what is in us, I think Tolkien is offering us an alternative. Again, to do what is in us. That phrase, it really seems so simple and it just sounds small. It's almost like it asks too little of us. But I think it really contains the entire ethos of The Lord of the Rings. Now, none of the heroes in Tolkien's story can really see the whole picture, except for Denethor, who thinks he can see the whole picture. Frodo doesn't really know what his suffering is going to achieve. Sam doesn't really see the end from the middle. Aragorn has no real guarantee that his courage will lead to victory, yet all of them do what is in them. And that's enough. For me, I feel like there's something freeing in that I'm not really required to kind of heal the whole world as if I even could. I just kind of have to tend faithfully to the part that I've been given. You know, our fields that we know. When the world feels too vast to fix, I think Tolkien's words are a reminder to us that doing what is in us, however small, still really matters. I think in a sense, Tolkien's vision is almost agricultural rather than imperial. We're gardeners, not generals. We don't really conquer evil where we uproot it. We find and plant good soil for the next generation. This is something that I think the world really needs to hear today. That our generation will not destroy the evil that will occur and that will ever occur in the world. And not everything will be peace and harmony after we die. That's a delusion. We're supposed to uproot evil where we find it and plant good soil for the next generation. That's how Middle-earth endures through countless small acts of courage and cultivation. Through the hobbits who love the Shire enough to fight for it. And through the stewards who keep faith even when kings are gone. That's a slight nod to Denethor, before he totally lost his mind thinking that he had no control and they were all doomed. See, guys, I can actually speak well of Denethor every once in a while. But the final sentence, I think, is the most humbling and one of the best written that he's had in this entire book so far. Now, we do not get to decide what weather the next generation will have. They might inherit storms. They might inherit drought. The world may turn dark again. But they will have cleaner earth to till because of the faithfulness of those that came before. The culture that I live in tends to hyper-fixate on results and immediate results as that. Amazon Prime, where you can get your packages the next day, is the prime example of that. See what I did there? But Tolkien reminds us, I think, that the moral of life is not really measured by the outcomes. That I think what we need to do is to not predict, but to plant. And that truth, I think, is what gives this passage its meaning. It's not resignation or throwing your hands up. It's trust, which is almost harder to do for us. Trust that good work is never wasted, even if we never see its fruit. Trust that the tides of the world are not really ours to master. And trust that the next generation will continue to fight and uproot evil where they find it and make good earth for the next generation that follows them. And so I kind of think Gandalf's line is all about the idea of just being present. Like when he tells Frodo, all we have to do is to decide what to do with the time that is given. And so I feel like this is almost a call for us to stop thinking about the future and about the past. The present is really where our task lies. This is where we build and mend and heal and even hope. The tides will move. The weather is going to change. And evil will rise again. I hate to admit it. But I think our work remains the same. To tend what is before us, to uproot what is wrong, and to leave the ground cleaner than we found. And that rhymed. So you know it's true. If we do that even once, I think we've done enough. So at the end of the day, just like this line says, let the tides roll where they will. I don't think our part is really to master them, but to just be faithful in our smallness, steadfast in what we want to care for, till the next generation and the next hand takes up the work. And I think this is really what Tolkien's entire ethos is really trying to get at. To do your small part in this to do your small and insignificant part in this grand world. And it's a great idea. I love Tolkien. So that's all I got for you today. Make sure you subscribe. If you made it this far, you can also like the video, or you can become a member if you want for some members only content, early access to videos. And as always, remember, we look toward Numenor that was, and beyond to Elvenhome that is, and to that which is beyond Elvenhome and will ever be. I'll see you in the next one.